Hey guys, so this is my first video of the week, and in this video I'm just going to be showing you how I sew the faces on my plushies. So I'm going to be demonstrated on these little stars that you can see here, and I'm going to show you 5 different ways to make a face. So yeah, let's get started. So for the first face, I'm going to do the one that I basically use the most often, and in order to do this I just take some regular black felt and I cut out the 2 circles for the eyes. Most of you guys do this anyway. Alternatively, you can actually sew on the eyes, but I already have a separate video on that, so I won't be doing it in this tutorial. But all I do is I use a fell stitch to sew on the eyes, and then I'm going to come back and show you how to do the mouth, because I want to do that bit on camera. Okay, so as you can see, I've just sewn on the eyes using black thread, and it just looks like that at the back. I think most of you know how to do this. I just basically use 4 stitches, like 1 stitch at each side, if you know what I mean. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4. I know it's quite hard to see, but I think you can do that. And now for the mouth, all I'm going to do is just use not very many stitches at all. I don't like to do too many stitches because then it makes it look too, I don't know, just like crowded and complicated. So I think this one's just going to be smiling because that's the face I use most. So I'm going to push my needle into the back of the fabric around about here, pull it all the way through, and then I'm just going to make one little like diagonal stitch right about there. So you can see that's like one side of the mouth. And now, so that I make it symmetrical, I'm going to move all the way over to this side, to the other side of the mouth, and try and get it in sort of the same place. If it helps, look at how far away this one is from the eye, and then try and make this distance the same. And then just do the same here. Sorry if I'm like moving the little star around a lot. It's kind of hard to keep it in the same position. Okay, so can you see that? I've just done 2 stitches, and that's both of the sides of the mouth. And now we only need maybe 2 more stitches to make the bottom of the mouth. So we're going to put the needle through right in the middle and a little bit down, because obviously we want him to be smiling, and pull it through. And then we're going to try and push it right exactly where this first stitch ends, like that. Normally when you make a stitch it makes like a little hole in the felt, so it makes it easier to get it in the same place. And then one more, we're just going to go back to where this stitch ends, pull it through. Oops, I've actually got it right in the middle of the 2 threads. And pull it back through into the middle, like this. So that's how I did the little mouth on this plushie, and I think it's pretty cute. It's just a basic smiley mouth, and as you can see I've only used 4 stitches for this. So yeah. Now for the second face, I'm not going to use any felt. I'm just going to do the face using thread. So I think I'm going to do, I can't explain what the face is, like when its eyes are closed, like little more than or less than signs. So just put the needle in the fabric wherever you would like and pull it through. My thread has a knot in the end, by the way, so that's why you can see, so it doesn't go all the way through. And then once you've done that, I normally do 2 stitches for each like line of the eyes. So go up a little bit and make a little diagonal stitch like this. And then same again, trying to keep it at the same angle as the first one. Oops, I'm pulling my scissors with me. Just pull that through like this. So that's one part of the eye. And now we're going to go down in the same angle if you can, but just go in the opposite direction. Sorry, let's try and get the thread out. Oh. Sorry for that little interruption there. But yeah, let's try and put this right where this first one started and pull all the way through, and then again for the second stitch. So you can see why I didn't really want to make this video, because I kind of find it a little boring to watch people sew on the eyes and things. So yeah, that's the first eye. And now I actually think I need to make this one a little tiny bit longer, so that's okay. just do a tiny half a stitch here. It's okay to make little adjustments if you think that things don't look right, because it doesn't really matter how many stitches. So I think that looks good. And now all I'm going to do is do the exact same thing but on the other side of the face. Now what I normally do to see how far apart they are is I take this length and I imagine 2 of them, and then that's where I start to do my second eye. I don't know why I do that, I just think that that's kind of a good guideline to work from, to make sure you have them in the right place. And obviously you can also look at the distance between the eye and the edge of the face as well, to make sure it's kind of the same. So there's the top part of the eye. I'm just going to go ahead and do the bottom part now. As you can see, I'm not actually doing all my stitches the same length, but it doesn't actually matter because they're not very visible once the plush is completed. Especially if you do all the stitches really close to each other so that there's no gap in between. Or, you know, in a perfect world they would all be in the same holes, but it's not always possible. Okay, so those are the 2 eyes finished. And now for the mouth of this plush. And because I did a smiling one on the other one, I'm just going to do this little, you know, like sideways 3 mouth. I'm not sure what to call it. It's like a cat mouth almost, isn't it? Okay, so just put your needle right through the middle. And it just needs to be a tiny bit below the point on the eyes. Okay, and I'm just going to make 1 pretty small vertical stitch here. So that's going to be the middle of the mouth. Oh, that's actually a really cute face. But now I'm not going to leave it there. I'm going to come along to this part and make yet another vertical stitch. And then I'm going to go back to the other side and make a 3rd vertical stitch. So these are the 3 vertical stitches in this mouth. And now all we need to do is do sort of these little curves in between the 2 verticals. So this is just like the smiling mouth that we did before. I'm going to try and make it symmetrical by doing one side at a time. I think we only need 3 stitches for this, for each little curve. And remember to try and keep your stitches small so that they're not... When stitches are small, it's not as obvious when they're sort of messy, but when your stitches are big, then it's really noticeable. So let's do that. I suppose that looks okay. Now we're just going to move on to the next one. I feel like this video is going to be really long, considering I've just talked for like 4 minutes while I'm doing this face. Sorry guys, are you still watching this? Watching me sewing, how interesting. Okay, so 1 more stitch and then this face is finished. And there we are, so that is the second face. So for this next face, I'm going to show you how to use these little beads as eyes. And this doesn't work on all plushies. I'm not sure how well it'll work on this one. But for your really small plushies, I think it sometimes works really well to use beads. So these are just, sorry, they're so tiny, little black beads and they've got a hole in the middle. So what you're going to do is take your plush and insert the needle where you want the eye to go. But then before you've pulled the thread through, we're going to just put this bead on the needle like this. So this is going to be a really fiddly one for me to do on camera. Okay, now we need to pull the thread all the way through. Again, I've got a knot in it so it doesn't go all the way. And then I'm going to take my needle and put it down right at the side of the bead. Keep hold of the bead, otherwise it's going to go flying. You see that? So that's made it attached so it's secure in place. But now we can't just leave it like that because that's going to come out really easily, so we need to do a couple more stitches. See how I'm going to the other side of the bead now? Pull it tight, put it back through the hole, and then put it back down at the other side. So normally 2 stitches is enough, so then I'm just going to go here, pull it really as tight as you can, and then I'm going to tie off my thread. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and do the other one off camera because it's exactly the same, and then I'll come back. Okay, so now I have attached both the beads. Here's what it looks like. And for this one, it's going to have just a straight line mouth. So what we're going to do is we're going to use a back stitch. Now, to do a back stitch, put the needles through the fabric at one side of the mouth. It can be either way, whichever way you prefer to work. And now, what we're going to do is just do one horizontal stitch this way, like that. Can be as big or small as you like. Now what we're going to do is we're going to sort of imagine this same size gap here and put the needle through the fabric a little bit along. See how the gap I've left is the same size as the stitch I've just done? So we're going to pull the needle through, and then what we're going to do is we're going to put the needle through the start of the gap, hopefully through the same hole as the other one, just like that. And see how it just carries on as if it was just a line? Well, you know, it is just a line. So I'm going to just do the same thing. And this is what we call a back stitch. So I know a couple of you guys have been asking me about that. It's really simple. I think it was one of the first stitches I learnt how to do when I started sewing. So yeah, that's the third plush. And here's how it looks on the back, just to show you. When you have a back stitch, if it was longer then you'd be able to see better. But the stitches on the back look a lot thicker than the stitches at the front. So that's how you know if you've done it correctly. Okay, so for the fourth face, we're just going to do it entirely in thread again, but it's going to be a different face this time. So insert your needle where you want the eyes to start, and this time we're doing sort of the upward happy eyes, if you know what I mean. So as you can see, I'm just doing one diagonal stitch, then I'm going down and doing another diagonal stitch. I only use 2 stitches when I do these eyes. So you can see that, it's just a really small little happy eye. Now I'm going to do this again at the other side. Try to make sure that this eye is the same distance from the edge as the other eye is. So look at this distance from here to here, and try and make this distance about the same. Just going to do that. And then on this face, it's the mouth that's the hardest part, because I'm going to do a shocked sort of circle mouth. So because this is a circle, I normally just do this freehand, but if you would like, you can always draw on a circle using a fine liner or using coloured pencil if you find that easier. But I'm going to show you how I do it. I just do one horizontal line at the top like this, so it looks like a little smiley face. And then, once I've done that, I'm going to go down and try to do another horizontal stitch just below it, like that. Oh gosh, mine's got a tiny bit wonky, but that's fine. Okay, so now once you've done that, do a vertical one here. So we're kind of like making a square, but without the corners. And then once again on the other side. These side stitches are a little bit shorter than the top and bottom. So that's what it looks like. And now I'm just going to go ahead and do 2 stitches in each of these corners to round them off and make it look circular. So put the needle right in the middle of the gap. Then do 1 stitch here. And another stitch here. Same again. I think this is an easier way to do a circle, because if you sort of use a back stitch and just try and go all the way around, sometimes it goes a little wonky. So that's why I tend to do it this way instead. One stitch here. Sorry if I'm going off camera again. I'm not meaning to, it's just quite a small area to keep. One here, one here, one here, one here. Oops, I've pulled my stitches slightly too tight. That does happen sometimes. If you pull it too tight, you sort of get a little hole between 2 of the stitches because it's pulled the felt apart. Try not to do that. And one last stitch here. So this is what this one looks like. It's just a little circle mouth with these 2 little eyes, happy eyes. And now for the final face, I'm actually going to paint on the eyes. So I know that most of you probably know how to do this, but for some of you that maybe haven't thought of it before, because I don't tend to do this very often, I'm just going to show you how. So right here I just have some fabric paint, and this is black. You can use acrylic as well, but I tend to find that acrylic paint will crack more, so I would really recommend buying some fabric paint if you don't have any. And it's just black, as you can see. And what I have here is just a pin, a regular pin that you use for sewing, and I'm just going to dip it in my paint carefully. Oh, this is going to be hard to do on camera. And then all I'm going to do is oh, hang on. Just going to, you saw what I did, but I had to do it on the floor. I'll try and angle the camera down. Is just paint it on, I suppose. If you just wait a second, I'll try and angle the camera down so I can show you more easily. Okay, so this might be a tiny bit better. I'm just going to do the same thing again. Get some paint on the head pin. Sorry, it's not a head pin, on the pin. And then just place it on the fabric like that. Come off. Now, as you can see, one of mine's bigger than the other one, but that's fine, because I'm just going to go ahead and make it a little bigger. Whoa. And there we have our painted on eyes. Now, to go with this face, I'm just going to add a little mouse. And for this mouth, I'm literally just going to use one stitch and do that. I wanted to say that this painting on the eyes method is actually a lot easier than I made it look. It was because I had to hold the camera with one hand, so it's a lot easier to do it with two hands. Now that all the basic faces are done, I'm just going to show you 3 ways that you can do blush onto your plushies. And you can see the first one, I've done the first cheek already just to save some time. But this one, I've just cut out a little piece from pink felt, and I'm just sewing it onto the plush using a fell stitch. So this one's basically the method that I use. I suppose I use it pretty often. It kind of depends on the plush, on what you think will look best. And I chose to do it on this face because I kind of smudged the eyes a little bit. Oh no, and not in the thread. But yeah, as I was saying, because I smudged the eyes a little bit on this plush, I chose to do this method of blush because then it allows you to cover up a tiny bit of the eye. And as you can see, I'm just using 4 stitches on each piece, like 1 at each corner. Ovals don't have corners, you know what I mean, side. Just as we sewed on the eyes earlier. So that's the first way to do blush. So the second method is probably the one that you've seen me use the most often on my plushies. And all I'm doing is I'm sewing 3 vertical lines with pink thread, or sometimes I use red thread, it just depends on the colour of the felt that you're using. And I'm just sewing these little lines right under the eyes, so they're not very noticeable, but it just makes it look a little bit cuter and more interesting than just a plain face. And now for the last method, we are going to use a soft pastel to make the blush. So I just have a pink pastel here, and I'm just taking a blade, but you can use your scissors if you like, and just scrape a little bit of it onto some paper. I'm just using like scrap paper. And then all you're going to do, I think I've done this in videos before, but I'm just going to do it again here, is pick some of the chalk up on just an old paintbrush and just sort of dab it right underneath the eyes on your plush. So this is a nice method to use because you can really blend this out. Like if you don't want a really solid shape, like you get maybe with the felt method, then you can use this method instead. And to secure it in place, all you need to do is get some hairspray and give it a little spray of that. So if you just wait a second. So I just have some hairspray here, and we're just going to hold it quite far up away from the plush and give it a couple sprays like that. So I actually put a little bit too much soft pastel on, but I think you guys get the idea. I normally only use like a tiny little bit, but either way, I still think it looks cute. So yeah, that was the last blush method. So I'm just going to go and sew up all the little stars, and then I'll come back to show you guys all of the faces. So here is what all the faces look like now that I've sewn up the stars. I actually gave this one chicken pox because do you remember I got some of the pastel like on the top? So this one's like a 6-star with this face. This was the one with the painted eyes and the felt cheeks. This was the one with the beaded eyes and the back stitch. This one has got felt eyes and just a normal smile. And then this one is all in thread with the cat face type thing. So yeah, I really hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial and that it was helpful for at least some of you. And I will be back with another video tomorrow. So yeah, thank you for watching. Bye guys.